Jackets again. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-6 against the Titans since Pat McAfee came up here and did his wrestling announcement. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since I was a senior in high school.
What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another edition of Titans Global Podcast, pre-game show edition. We're back on Friday nights doing our pre-games. What's up?
Feel good Friday. Good to be here. Let's talk some Titans. Get into this thing.
Yes, sir. And just a quick reminder, if y'all are watching me right now, please go check out our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It does great stuff for everybody. Really helps us out. All right. So first of all, let's go over the unbelievable, amazing, I'm saying this sarcastically, exciting news that we got today. Nissan Stadium is locked down. Now, this part I actually am excited about a little bit. 20 years. We get to brand our new stadium with Nissan. And as long as Nissan are making the Titan trucks, I mean, come on, man. Who's a better sponsor?
Makes sense.
So I love the fact that we got them locked down for 20 years. A lot of people were like, oh, man, why are they going to act like this is a huge announcement? And I kind of get it. But at the same time, I get why they're excited. I get why they made it kind of a big deal.
Do you think it would have been cooler if they went back with, like, Nissan Coliseum? Do you like Nissan Stadium? Do you like that as a vibe? I mean, I just think Nissan Coliseum, where the Titans play, I think that would have been a cool throwback, especially with, you know, they're getting into the Oilers history and all the throwback stuff. I was really thinking they're going to come out with some Nissan Coliseum stuff, but you never know. I mean, we still got a while before the stadium's built, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool if they went back to that.
I mean, yeah, I do have to agree with you. You know, the first name, the Adelphia Coliseum.
Yep.
It was a beautiful name. Ever since then, it's kind of just been crap. LP Field, I think, came after that.
Yep.
I had to look up what Louisiana Pacific even did. And then I found out they were a lumber company, and I was like, what the hell are we doing? But, you know, it came back around to Nissan. And, yeah, you know, I don't know if I really like Nissan Stadium or, you know, Coliseum. I could see why, you know, you'd like it to be that. And yeah, I'd be all right if they changed it. But to be honest, I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't really care. I got you.
I'm a car guy. You know, I'm a mechanic. So I see cars every day. I own a Nissan. My father-in-law is a Nissan guy.
Yep, there you go.
You know, so I'm kind of happy about it, if I'm being honest. But I understand why everybody else is like, is this news? This could have just been like a notification from ESPN or something. You know, that's exactly what Tyler said about it. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, to hold a press conference, I thought it'd be a little bit bigger, but hey, I'm here for it. You know, any Titans news is good news, so I'm here for it. Let's get
any Titans news that is not injury related.
That is true, and I've got some info. So you want to start there? You want to hit the injury reports? And
let's lead off. Go for it, man.
Big names coming out. Obviously, Burke still in concussion protocol, so he is going to be out. Sean Murphy-Bunting, he was actually limited on Wednesday. He is ruled out for Sunday, so he will not be with us. Andre Dillard, he is ruled out. He is still in concussion protocol. Luke Gifford, linebacker, he is listed as questionable. And Brunskill, tackle, also listed as questionable. So not a lot of surprises, nothing that really stood out to me. The Sean Murphy-Bunting, I was kind of upset about. I I know he's given up some plays, but I like to see him back there. I feel like the secondary vibe's a little bit better when he's in. But it is what it is, next man up. So as far as Jacksonville goes, again, not a lot of surprises. Tyson Campbell, corner, he is listed as out. He's given up some touchdowns. So, wouldn't hate seeing him there giving up some more touchdowns, but he is listed as out for Sunday. Zay Jones, he is listed as questionable. Signs point to him going, even though he does have the battery case where he was booked. Something I'm not really going to get into, but he is listed as questionable. Again, things kind of seem to be pointing towards him playing the way that they're talking, but we'll just have to wait and see. Another one that stuck out to me was Anton Harris, the rookie tackle. He gave up some huge plays to Bosa in that San Francisco game. I was kind of hoping that could be something we could take advantage of, especially if he's not coming in 100%. A rookie right tackle, get Simmons over there, let him eat. That one kind of stuck out to me too. So he is listed as questionable, but again, I don't think he's going to be 100%. So that's one to look out for.
Yeah, you mentioned Zay Jones. I think he's, like you said, he's probably going to play. It sounds from all indications that he's going to play.
Yep.
Let's see. Luke Gifford, I don't think he's going to play, and I don't think Brunskill's going to play either.
I don't think so either. No, listed as questionable, but yeah, I agree. I don't think they'll go on Sunday.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm saying it right, that the last injury report had him as not participating. So this would have been, I think, the first practice he would have actually participated in. Yep. Probably not going to. I'm just saying, unless it's a light injury, he's probably not going to go out.
Yeah, and they brought in extra help too. Once they moved Campbell over to injury reserve, they brought in some new guys, some new faces. Throckmorton, I expect him to possibly see a little bit of time. He looked super active in practice. I don't know how they're going to play that. But again, you're going to see a lot of NPF at left this week. He's going to get, a full game there, I believe. So we'll see how he holds up, how he does, and what he's been working on in practice. So
another one you mentioned that I wanted to talk a little bit about was Sean Murphy Bunting.
Yeah.
I don't expect to see him play for a while. He had a wrist injury, apparently, that 3 torn ligaments in his wrist. If I'm not misquoting, which I'm pretty sure I'm not, he had a surgery this week to repair that.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why I was kind of, like I said, it showed him as being limited on Wednesday. I don't know what the extent of that was, but to kind of build on that, Traylon Burks, I saw a report today where he's going to be multiple weeks, if not out for the season. Apparently that was a pretty severe concussion, so thoughts and prayers to Traylon Burks. I know people kind of giving him some slack for playing, but hey, I mean, health comes first, and we want him to get right. Still think he could be valuable down the road in the future, even if it's not this year, if he is out for the season. But kind of the same thing. Those are a couple guys I don't think we'll see for a while. So,
yeah, if I'm being really honest, like 100% real, all J-Rob's guys got a really short string with me.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But as a human, obviously I want him to get better, take care of himself. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
But as a Titans fan, yeah, I mean, they just got a short string with me.
Yep. So. Agreed.
So, all right, let's talk some Jacksonville. Because God knows that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start with their defensive numbers. We'll go through a little bit, then we'll talk a little bit, then we'll go through a little bit more.
Yep.
Overall defense, their rankings 23rd in the NFL. They give up about 353 yards a game and 22 touchdowns so far this year. Their pass defense is ranked 30th, giving up 266 yards and 14 touchdowns. Their rush defense is ranked 16th at 110 yards a game, 5 touchdowns. And their scoring defense is ranked 15th. Points allowed, ranked 21st. Red zone defense, this is where it gets a little scary for me. Red zone defense, they're ranked number 7th in the NFL. And third down defense, number 4 in the NFL, with 34% of the time opponents make the third down. Only a third of the time.
They know how to get off the field, and that's important. Just ask the Titans.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a
Yeah.
team that looks like they're having a hard time figuring out a way to convert on third down, unless it's a short third down.
Yep.
That's a scary stat.
Yep, it is. Another big thing that stuck out to me on that stat line for the defense is they are tied for first in takeaways with 18 total takeaways. 11 interceptions is tied for third, and they forced 7 fumbles. So they're going to get after the ball. They're going to be looking to make plays. You got to be smart. If you're Levis, if you're Henry, you got to protect the ball. If you're going to take a sack, which we don't want to happen, but if you are, you got to hold on to it because you're going to have Allen back there. He's going to be coming at you. So you got to be safe with the ball if you're Tennessee. Yeah, that number really stuck out to me. They're only a +1 in turnover differential. So they take the ball away, but they tend to give it back a lot too. So
actually,
it's
their
going to be
turnover, or at least the one I looked at, their turnover differential was 0.01.
Okay, I could be reading that wrong. I'll double check on that. Yeah, but either way, I mean those numbers are kind of right there together. So if you're Tennessee, you got to protect the ball and you got to be looking to get after it at the same time.
Yeah, turnovers I do as their own stat. But yeah, their takeaways, they're like you said, number 1 in the NFL with 2 per game is what they're averaging. 2 per game. However, they're number 30th in the NFL on giving away the ball.
Yep.
They give away the ball 1.9 per game.
Yep.
So they almost give as much as they take.
Yep.
So as long as we keep that turnover ratio close, I think we got a decent chance.
Yeah, and what surprised me about that too is going back to the turnovers they have given up, a lot of those are fumbles by receivers. I've got 11 fumbles, and most of those, I was trying to look here to see, I had the numbers on who had given up what. Yeah, I mean, Kirk has 2, Ingram has 2, Agnew has 1. So, they do a good job of moving the ball down the field and catching it. But those receivers, you got to be looking to punch at that because they're giving up a lot of turnovers on that receiving side.
Yeah, and Lawrence, he gives up a lot too.
Yeah.
And not only on his interceptions, which really aren't that bad actually, but his fumbles.
Yeah. Yep.
He averages, I think, something, I can't find it right now, but he averages something like 1.6 or 1.7 turnovers a game.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good. Good for us.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the point. Yeah, you got to get after it. You got to be looking to punch at that ball. Always be looking to rake at it. I mean, anything you can do, especially in that backfield with him, anything you can do to punch at that ball and get it out is going to be huge for us. Because I think this game feels like it's going to come down to 2 or 3 plays. I do think this is going to be a lot closer than what some other people are thinking. I mean, I think the last time I checked, the line was a 7.5. But I do feel like this game's going to come down to some turnovers, some field position battle. So you got to be looking to take it away as often as you can.
Absolutely. And please, for the love of God, Shane Bowen, do not drop Harold Landry into coverage.
No.
One more.
No.
I swear to God, dude. Sorry. I get a little upset about that for some reason. Oh, yeah, because he's a linebacker who rushes the quarterback as a specialty.
Yeah.
We pay him like $60 million. Stupid. Anyway, we're going to move on now to the offensive stats. Passing plays, they're ranked 20th. They pass the ball 57% of the time. Their completion on that 57% of the time is 67%, which ranks them 11th in the NFL. Their yards per play is about 6.5 on passing downs, which is ranked 15th in the NFL. Their yards per game is about 221, which ranks them 16th in the NFL. Interceptions thrown, they're ranked 11th in the NFL with 1.95, or almost 2 per game. Quarterback sacked 7.25% of the time, ranked 20th. So that's not very good stat. I mean, even though they're ranked 20th there, that seems like he's not getting sacked a lot compared to what you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's definitely, they do a good job, I will say, of letting him move around. He's good on his scrambles. He's still good outside of the pocket. I saw this year, I've seen him in a lot of bootleg plays where, they're designing getting him kind of outside of the pocket. Something I'd kind of like to see from Levis, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely active back there. He's going to be moving around. You got to come at him. You got to come quick. You can't lose him.
Yeah, man. I tell you, one of the things that really frustrates me about the Titans when they do blitz, they blitz. They lose contain a lot, especially on the outside. That drives me nuts, dude. I mean, that's football 101 fundamentals. Do not let the man get on the outside. Force him back to the inside where you have help.
Yep.
But whatever. I'm not going to get on harping on the defense because that's not what this is about. This is about how we're going to shape up against Jacksonville. Excuse me.
That's right.
So on to rushing. See how they do against running, or how they do when they run the ball. They run the ball 43% of the time, which ranks 13 yards per play. Of that 43% is 3.8 yard average, which ranks them 27th in the NFL. 28 rushes average per game. That ranks them 11th. Yards per play, yards per game, 106, which ranks them 15th. Rushing touchdowns average is 1 per game, which ranks them 9th in the NFL. How is that right? I guess it's just the way that the game is evolving and turning into a passing league.
Yep.
But 1 touchdown in rushing gets you 9th in the league. You're in the upper. All right. I mean, hey, I'm just reading the stats. I don't make the stats. Yeah. I read the stats.
Yep.
So there it is. That's their rushing effectiveness. I feel like Derrick Henry can probably get us some yards. I feel like out of the backfield, especially if they use him correctly, get him into space more often. I love the fact that Tim Kelly's way more willing to screen pass than Todd Downing ever was.
Yep.
So there's that. Yeah, you got any pointers for them?
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry tends to have success at Jacksonville, and I feel like that going into this, that has to be your game plan initially. I like the idea. I mean, I know Levis is going to have to make some plays, but this just kind of feels like a Derrick Henry game. Divisional matchup. Titans are kind of against the ropes right now. Jacksonville's coming off a tough loss, but I mean, hey, they've had a successful season. They're leading the division right now. I feel like this needs to be a game where Derrick Henry needs to get going early. I'd love to see 20, 25 carries out of him. I feel like that's going to help set up the pass. I know we've talked before about, throwing the ball to kind of set up the run. This just feels like one where you got to start early and you got to hit the ground running with Henry. That's just kind of how it feels personally to me.
I agree. I 100% agree. We need to use Henry because, to be honest, I actually had to answer a question this week that was, what is my favorite play of the Titans versus Jaguars? And it was real easy for me. I didn't even have to think, man, because I've actually produced a couple different videos of it. Derrick Henry's 99-yard touchdown run, man, where he stiff arms half the team on the way to the end zone.
Absolutely.
It was beautiful, man.
Yep.
One guy gets stiff armed twice.
Yeah.
It was sweet. I think that was Miles Jack. Yeah. Poor guy, man. I felt bad for him. But that is just beauty in itself. Not only that, when you run against Jacksonville like that and you have success, they are already afraid of that because Derrick Henry has had, I think, 3 or 4 200-yard games against Jacksonville.
Yep.
So they're already prepared for Derrick Henry to go off.
Yep.
And even if they're not, even if they're thinking, oh, well, Derrick Henry's a little lax, this year, he's lost a couple steps. Well, that's cool, man. Let him take you by surprise, and he'll do that again. And then from the rest of the game, they'll be hardcore on Henry.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna see. I could be wrong. I feel like you're gonna see a higher snap count from him coming this week. The Tajay Spears experiment is definitely working, and I still think they're gonna split some carries. They're gonna split some snaps. Something just tells me that this is a Henry game. I feel like his snap count's going to be up. I feel like they're going to try to get him involved in the pass game a little bit. Some of those screens, like you talked about, those dump offs, those shovel passes. I feel like they know what they've got in their offensive line at this point in the season. And I still kind of have faith that Tim Kelly's trying to figure this out. I saw some video of him this week at practice, and I mean he's down with that offensive line group. He's kind of hunched down a little bit, just staring at him intently. I mean he's trying to think of ways to kind of compensate for what they're missing on that offensive line. And I feel like he's going to do a good job this week getting some guys involved in different ways and finding some different things that could work. And I feel like a lot of that's going to do with Henry.
You know, I'm really glad you brought up the offensive line.
Yeah.
Because I honestly, and you know, I'm probably going to catch a lot of heat for this, but I honestly think that they're going to be a tidbit better on the left side this week.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people said we got what we asked for with Dylan Radins last week. I think I even said this on the last show that, you know, it's not the same. You really don't know unless you play football or something like that, and you're constantly going back with one foot, you know?
Yep.
And then when you switch the side of the lines, you're all of a sudden your feet are switched.
Yep.
Your shoulders are I mean, you completely change your entire body. You change the entire way you back up, back pedal. Everything's different.
Yep.
So the fact that he gets a complete week of practice at left tackle, and he's going to get to start at left tackle this week, I think he's going to excel, or at least do a lot better than he did last week.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree with that. I saw some tape of him working, you know, side by side with some of the guards, and I mean, his foot movement looks good. Like I said, he was beside Skoronski. I feel like they're going to start meshing a little bit well. I feel like they're going to kind of come together and figure this thing out, because one thing we haven't had is consistency. There's been no consistency at the spot. And it's still going to take, you know, 2-3 weeks to build a good chemistry with each other. But like you said, having that full week of practice, knowing, hey, this is our guy. This is who we're going to go with. Having that, you know, that assuredness that this is who you're going with, they're going to start meshing a little bit better. I think there's going to be some chemistry building up for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, earlier in the show, I said all J-Rob's picks have a short leash with me.
Yeah.
All right, here's your one exception. Dylan Radins is the one exception to the rule, simply because he was drafted in the second round, which wasn't like, you know, it's not like the draft experts were like, what are y'all doing? So it wasn't a crazy pick at second round.
Yeah.
He played left tackle at North Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very good tackle. Then he comes to Tennessee, and I think we played him on tackle at left tackle 2 games his entire 4 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's kind of not really fair. I think the kid's got a bad rap. I think if they just put him there, I think he'll do a lot better.
Well, and that's similar to the Skoronski story. I mean, a lot of people felt like you brought him in to be that Taylor Lewan replacement, to be that left tackle. And then, you know, they put him at guard, and he's doing great at guard. I've got no complaint about it, but kind of a similar story. You know, you bring this guy in, everybody thinks he's going to be the tackle, and then it just doesn't work out that way. And now Radins is getting that opportunity to move to that spot, to be what I think even he wanted to be coming out of the draft.
Yep.
And I think he's going to kind of take the reins, and you just got to limit the penalties. And again, another week of practice. I feel like he's going to clean that up. We're going to hope that he cleans that up. But nobody's asking you to go out and be Superman. I mean, he doesn't have to come out and push guys 10 yards down the field and hit 20 pancake blocks. I mean, just hold up, trust the guy beside you, do your job, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, man. I tell you, also, as a running back in high school and stuff, I look for offensive linemen that do well for running backs.
Yep.
That's exactly what Dylan Radins is.
Absolutely.
He's got a really thick anchor, so he's strong, but he's also highly athletic. Can get on the outside real easy, block at the second level. That's exactly what you want.
Yep.
So I'm not going to say anything else about it, but I really feel like he's going to do a lot better this week. I think our offensive line improves. And with the extra time, I think Will Levis does better.
Yep.
Period.
I agree. Speaking of Will Levis, I saw he did an interview with Jordan DeJaney this week, going back to the Buccaneers game. And what DeJaney pointed out, something that really impressed him, is Levis was really interested in the game within the game, the halftime adjustments, the defensive tendencies. And I feel like he's growing kind of right before us. And that's something I find interesting in this matchup is when you look at what we've got in Levis and what Jacksonville's they have in Trevor Lawrence, guys, this could be a quarterback matchup 8-10 years down the road. I mean, this is the first time we're going to see these guys go up against each other. And I feel like this matchup is going to be kind of a vision of things that are to come. But really interested from that interview, just kind of seeing how he looks at the games, how seriously he takes this. He made a comment about Vrabel too, saying that, he wants that tough coach. He wants somebody who's going to be even more critical of him than he's going to be of himself, and saying that that's what he needs. And, we look back to kind of the press conferences Vrabel would give and stuff. And I think it is just Vrabel being that tough coach who's not going to pat him on the back every time he does something good. He's the kind of coach that's going to push him to be better no matter how he performs. And I feel like we're going to see that this week. I think Levis is going to come out. He's going to have a big game and do a lot of things right.
Yeah, look, man, I agree. I think it honestly hurt. I think, Vrabel doesn't like rookies, and I think it honestly hurt him a little bit to have to start Will Levis this year. I don't think he wanted to do that, and I think his amazing play against Atlanta is what pushed that. And then when he come back against the Steelers and had a decent game, even against the Steelers, and the best game for a rookie quarterback, that's went up against the Steelers in 14 games, excuse me. I mean, you have to give it to him, you know what I mean? You can't say, oh, well, I'm going to stick with Ryan Tannehill when he gets healthy because, half the fan base would have went bananas, including me, and I was not happy when we drafted Will Levis at first. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I'm a Georgia fan, so I get to see him a lot. You know what I mean? I saw him a lot in college, and I wasn't very impressed, but I'm impressed with the way he's handling himself as a pro. That was one of my big knocks against Malik Willis, was the way he interviewed, the way he talked, the way he handled himself in the huddle. You can just tell that when Will Levis goes into the huddle and he starts telling these guys who are, 3-4 years ahead of him where they're going to go and what they're going to do, and this is how it's going to, you know what I mean? He doesn't hesitate for a second. He's got full confidence in himself. That just makes other guys want to play better for him. So good job, Will Levis, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some guys that just have it and are just kind of born leaders. And, there was a lot of stuff coming out when he was drafted about how much energy he had and how devoted he was. And some people almost felt like it was too much, that he was too emotional. But I feel like that's what this team needs. I mean, somebody who's going to get in there and say, you know what, this sucks. Losing sucks. Let's change this. And coming in as a rookie and being able to get behind these guys and push them, these veterans. I mean, he's essentially trying to motivate veterans at this point. And I feel like it's really important for him and the rest of this year, the way that, he's able to bring the team back. And I feel like it's really going to set him up for success down the road. If he can figure that out now, how to motivate guys in this type of season, I don't think he's going to have any problem moving forward.
I actually agree with you. I think I don't know if this year will be a big breakout year for him. I mean, obviously, I think he's already done well to be where he's at.
Yep.
But I think next season with a full off season, knowing he's the starter, Probably going to have a new offensive line.
Yep.
Mostly. More than likely going to have one or two more receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a new running back. I hate to say that, Henry, but unless you take a hometown discount, which I don't really see it. I mean, especially since he was, standing up for the running backs of the league this year and all that. I don't see it, guys.
Yeah.
So more than likely, like I said, new running back, maybe one or two new receivers, definitely a new offensive line, mostly. Yeah. So then we'll get to see what Will Levis is really made of.
For sure.
Hopefully they don't change up too much on him. But score predictions. I hate to do these because I'm always wrong. And especially the last two seasons because I keep picking the Titans to score high numbers. And I've been stuck on 24 most of the season, and I have been wrong almost every week.
Yeah.
So this week I'm going to take a step back from my norm, and I'm going to say Titans lose 12-21.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't like saying that, man. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like how that sounds.
I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach. I feel like 21 sounds high to me for Jacksonville. The reason it sounds high is because of the type of game I think it's going to be. I feel like this is going to be a field position battle, start to finish. Stonehouse, just one more interesting stat, 52.6% of his punts are inside the 20. That's third. Logan Cook from Jacksonville, 54.1. That's second. So you got both of these punters who are bombing it inside of the 20. It's going to be a huge field position game. Both of them have 20 punts inside of there. I think I'm going to take Titans 17-13. I think they're going to hold off Jacksonville. I don't think they're getting over 20. I can't put them past 20, but I think the defense does enough this week and they come alive, and I think they pull it out.
All right, let me just be clear here real quick, because I've already seen one fan that was like, boo this man. And I agree. I hate saying the Titans are going to lose, but on one flip side of the coin, I've said the Titans were going to win every single game so far this season, and they haven't. They've only won 3 of them.
Here we sit.
So maybe by me saying they're going to lose, they'll win. But I don't like being a negative Nancy. However, they do have a really good tight end, and we're not great at stopping tight ends, especially this season. We haven't been in the past either, but especially this season. Our run game is shoddy. They've got a decent run game. And the fact that they have Calvin Ridley and probably Zay Jones back. I hate it. Our secondary can't seem to do anything without Sean Murphy. Roger McCreary does a good job. Let me back that up real quick. Roger McCreary's done a great job. And Garrar, actually, when he gets playing time, does decently well too. So I'd like to see him get a little bump in playing time. Maybe take some of Molden's snaps away, because Molden looks like he's running out there through wet concrete. Dude looks slow, man.
Yeah, Molden's not looking great right now. I feel like this could be a big game for Hooker. I feel like Amani Hooker could make some plays. I feel like Aziz at that linebacker spot. I don't hate him in coverage, especially on a tight end. I mean, we'll see how that matchup goes. But, something in me is telling me this defense. I mean, they always seem, especially the defense, the Titans as a whole, but especially the defense, they tend to bounce back after weeks like Tampa Bay. The line seems to play better after a loss. I feel like Jeff Simmons is going to have a day. I feel like Autry's going to have a day. That was a huge stat you showed today that you posted about Autry. I just feel like they're going to figure it out this week.
Yeah, I will say this. I do think the offensive line will be better. I do think that Levis will be better.
Yep.
So we might actually score a lot more than I'm anticipating. Now, their red zone defense is really good, but we saw in the Atlanta game that Will Levis doesn't need to be in the red zone to score.
Nope.
He can score from 40, 60 yards out. So red zone defense really don't mean squat.
No.
As long as we can get somebody open behind that's it. That's the difference between Levis and Tannehill.
Yes.
That's the main difference, man. And Tannehill used to have it. I don't know if y'all remember. God, who were we playing against? I think it might have been the Green Bay game that we did just excel at. But A.J. Brown goes out for a touchdown. I know nobody likes to talk about him, but A.J. Brown goes out for a touchdown. He's running. There's a dude right behind him, basically. And Ryan Tannehill floats this ball up, and AJ literally turns around just like this, and it falls, boop, right in his hands. I mean, he doesn't even have to move his hands. It just right there. Nowhere else that ball could have been. It would have been defended. I mean, it was the perfect touch. It was right on target. But that was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't have that anymore. He doesn't have, I don't know if it's he doesn't have the arm, or if it's he doesn't have the accuracy, or his feet are just too happy and he doesn't get them set correctly. But he just ain't got it this year, man. He's playing scared. And I'm really happy that they moved on to Levis, because Levis really has that power behind his arm and the touch to put on it just to dip it right in there where it needs to be.
I agree. And he's the type of person too. It only takes one of those to get him going. I mean, if he you saw it in that game. If he hits one of those, there's more coming. I mean, he feeds off that. He feeds off that energy. As Jeffrey Simmons said, it Will Damn Levis. I mean, he starts hitting those shots, and he's dangerous. He's really dangerous, and he's going to do it while taking hits. I mean, he's not scared of pressure in his face. If you're gonna come after him, you better get there, because you're leaving some of those receivers in one-on-one coverage, and he'll find them.
Oh yeah, and it fires up the defense too.
Yep.
I mean, Jeffrey Simmons was going nuts. Aziz Al-Shaair was going nuts. There was a lot of the defensive guys were feeding off of what Will Levis was doing in that game, and that's the thing, man. That's what I kept saying. There just has to be some kind of spark, otherwise we're just gonna fizzle out. Yep. And we did kind of fizzle out. We probably will fizzle through the rest of the season, but we have something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
That's what makes these games. Plus, this is an evaluation season, so we're getting to see, like Chig. Unfortunately, if y'all follow me on Twitter, you saw my post. Chig is not having the year I thought he would. He's not breaking out. It looks like he's the same guy he was last year, so crap. Yeah. Literally at one of my responses or replies to somebody was, here's hoping for Wiley, because Chig, in my eyes, like I said, they have a short leash with me. So, unfortunately, unless he just pops. Of course, last year he popped. That was the reason that we all got excited, was because in the last 6 games, he went off. So we all thought, oh man, this is going to carry over into the next season. He's going to have a breakout year. Of course, devil's advocate here, I have to say he has been used a lot in chip blockings, and it's very hard to get into a solid route when you have to chip somebody on your way out.
Yeah, and not only that, but once you drop 2 or 3 balls, it's in your head. I think it's all in his head right now, and not being able and having to do those chip blocks and not consistently running routes and consistently having to make those plays. I don't feel like he's a guy you can call on in a third quarter when he hasn't had a target all day. He's got to get in. He's one of those guys that has to get in a rhythm, and he just hasn't gotten a rhythm this year. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team that haven't gotten a rhythm this year, but Chig especially. And I feel for him, because I still think he's a great player. I still think he can put up some stats this year, but he's got to get out of his own head. That's the biggest thing holding him back right now.
Yeah, and another one that I haven't talked about tonight, but we did talk about him Monday night, and we talked about him the week before. I would love to see Kyle Phillips continue this production that we're seeing out of him. I'd love for him to cement himself as the second or third wide receiver on our team.
Yep.
Please continue. Continue, Phil.
Get the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
I mean, he will make. I don't care if it's screens. I don't care if it's deep shots. I don't care if it's crossing routes. Get the ball in his hands, because once he gets it, he can do some special stuff.
That's it, man. All right, you got anything to add before we wrap this thing up?
I think I'm good. This feels like a trap game for Jacksonville. They're coming off a loss, a tough loss at home. Tennessee's desperate. Something's telling me. So
we ain't got nothing to lose.
Yep, nothing to lose. Everything to play for. So hey, I'll be excited to react to it. 17-13. That's my call. So let's go get it.
That's it, man. All right. Tell them where to find you at, Link.
You can find me on Twitter at Link Rogers. You can find me on Facebook, same name. Come check me out. I post, especially about this show. I'm excited to be here, excited to do some stuff. So come see me. I'd love to chat with you. If you have any questions about me, feel free to ask. But yeah, I'm always here.
And as usual, everybody should know. If you don't know by now, that's okay. Go ahead and check it out. Titans Global Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and you can find me personally, Maximus Titan Fan, on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for joining us tonight on our first pregame show in a while. We will be doing these on the regular from now on till the end of the season, foreseeable future. So join us now every Friday night at 8, 7 Central, and Monday nights, 7:30, 6:30 Central. Or did I say that right? I did say that right.
Yep.
All right. Everybody have a good evening. Enjoy your weekend. Tighten up and peace out.